Holiday Clash and Christmas Cheer. Arrival Day. Julia arrived at the snowy Pinwood Lodge, eager to spend her week off basking in the holiday spirit. She was greeted by garlands, twinkling lights, and the scent of pine. Just as she settled in, a knock at the door surprised her. A grumpy man in a dark coat stood there, clearly displeased. "Unexpected roommate. I think you're in my room," Daniel muttered, scowling. Julia checked her reservation, realizing they'd both been booked in the same cabin by mistake. As a self-proclaimed holiday lover, Julia tried to stay cheerful, but Daniel's bad mood dampened the festive vibes. Forced to share, they established ground rules to survive the week. Clash of traditions. Julia spent the morning decorating with the holiday trinkets she'd brought along, while Daniel rolled his eyes, preferring a clutter-free space. She hung stockings and played cheerful carols, while he grumbled about the noise. Julia saw him cringe every time a carol started. He was a true Grinch, and she was determined to change that. Silent dinner. Dinner was awkwardly silent as they sat at opposite ends of the table. Julia tried small talk, but Daniel's answers were curt. Finally, she asked, "Why do you hate Christmas so much?" He shrugged, evading her question. Julia sensed a story there, something buried deep behind his guarded eyes. She let it drop for now. Decking the halls. The next morning, Julia decorated the cabin, stringing lights around the windows and adding a Christmas tree she found on the lodge's porch. To her surprise, Daniel didn't complain. Instead, he watched quietly, occasionally making a suggestion. Though he remained aloof, Julia noticed a flicker of curiosity in his gaze, like he was warming up. Unexpected snowstorm. That evening, a snowstorm rolled in, blanketing the lodge and cutting off power. Julia was worried they'd be stuck in silence, but Daniel surprised her by starting a fire in the fireplace. They huddled nearby, wrapped in blankets. "Guess we're stuck," he said, half smiling. Julia saw a glimmer of warmth, his grumpiness softening. Finding common ground. With no electricity, they talked by firelight, sharing stories. Julia confessed her love for Christmas stemmed from her childhood, filled with cozy traditions and family memories. Daniel, more relaxed than she'd ever seen him, finally admitted his own past. His parents' divorce had left him alone every Christmas, leading him to resent the holiday. Rekindling joy. Julia's heart ached for Daniel's experiences. "Maybe you just haven't had the right Christmas yet," she said, smiling. She insisted he join her in some holiday traditions she'd planned. Reluctantly, he agreed, curious despite himself. The next day, she invited him to decorate cookies with her, finding joy in simple acts of Christmas cheer. Baking bonding. Covered in flour and frosting, they laughed more than they had all week. Daniel's creativity surprised Julia as he decorated an elaborate cookie Christmas tree. She teased him, calling him a closet Christmas fan. He shrugged, a playful spark in his eyes, and admitted it wasn't as bad as he thought. Outdoor adventure. Inspired by the fresh snowfall, Julia suggested they go sledding. Daniel hesitated but eventually joined her. They spent hours racing down the hills, laughing and letting go. For Daniel, it was the first time he'd felt the magic of the season in years. He even cracked a smile, his guard finally falling away. A Christmas market visit. Julia convinced Daniel to visit the nearby Christmas market, where festive stalls lined the street, offering mulled wine and handmade crafts. As they wandered, Daniel bought her a small wooden ornament, a delicate snowflake. "A reminder of this week," he said. Julia's heart fluttered, sensing his appreciation for the holiday growing. Heartfelt conversation. That evening, over mugs of hot cocoa, they shared more about their lives and dreams. Julia saw a softer side of Daniel, a man yearning for connection yet afraid to embrace it. Daniel admitted that maybe he'd avoided Christmas because it reminded him of what he felt was missing. Julia's kindness was opening his heart. The tree lighting. The lodge held a small Christmas Eve ceremony, lighting a large tree out front. Julia and Daniel joined the crowd, their shoulders brushing as they watched the lights sparkle to life. Julia noticed Daniel's face soften, his eyes reflecting the lights. "Thank you for helping me see Christmas differently," he whispered. A kiss under the mistletoe. Later that night, back at the cabin, Julia found herself standing under mistletoe. Daniel chuckled, pointing it out. "I think there's a rule about this," he said, his voice soft. Without hesitation, he leaned in, their kiss gentle yet filled with newfound warmth. For once, he felt the magic of the season completely. Christmas morning farewell. Christmas morning arrived, and it was time to leave. They exchanged small gifts, a hand-painted ornament from Julia, a heartfelt note from Daniel. As they parted, Daniel promised to keep Christmas in his life, thanks to her. Julia knew she'd made a difference, but she also knew Daniel had found a place in her heart too. Thank you for watching. I like to wish my family, friends, Edmund, and members a very Merry Christmas. Please be safe.